Welcome to Inspired Vinyasa. My name is Sandra, and we're going to start in a comfortable seat with the eyes closed. Give me a nice deep inhale through the nose. Big exhale. And then take the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together, releasing them home to your heart and prayer pose so you can pause here to set an amazing intention. And then when you're ready, just release the backs of the hands to rest on the knees. Close your eyes, take your focus to your breath. And what I thought we would start off with is pulling an oracle card to guide our practice, give us an intention sent from the universe to kind of, think about while we're moving through our sequence. So you focus on breathing. Let me shuffle this deck up 3 times. Why 3? Because that's what my grandma always told me. Never shuffle a deck more than 3 times. I don't think there's rhyme or reason to that. I think she made that up. But, I'm going to stick with what grandma said. So, all right. I'm pulling a card for our initial practice. And while I've got the cards here, my intention was to pull 2 more later, so I'm just going to pull them right now. One is going to be for us to think about for the day, and one is going to be for Shavasana. All right, got my 3 cards. So for our practice, okay, I don't mean to laugh when you can't see the card. The card is, first of all, blue, so we're thinking throat chakra, right? It has a sword that's buried in the ground. So just the handle is sticking out with a red heart in the middle. And the title of the card is Win or Lose. See, that's a good card to think about when we're practicing our yoga poses, right? Let's talk about that. But first, I want you to open your eyes. And let's get that right hand to the earth, left arm up, take a side bend to the right, just kind of move around a little bit, stretching out. The win or lose card, in my perception and dealing with our yoga sequence, has to do with ahimsa, right? So keeping yourself safe on the mat by being careful in the poses. We come out ahead when we push it. Go ahead, come back up, switch arms and sides. When we push poses, we're eventually going to, I guess you could say, lose, because you're either going to be in pain, you're going to be regretting it, or it's going to be a distraction from what you're really supposed to be learning from the pose. Go ahead, come back to center. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale to the heart. And then go ahead and reach the hands out forward. I need to turn, but you're going to pull yourself up into the table, hands and knees. So we'll be constantly then thinking about this concept of win or lose on the yoga mat, right? There's no reason to push anything. I can't see you, so there are no prizes for doing all the poses. Modify whatever you need to. Make sure that your yoga practice is a win-win for you. Let's find cat-cow right here. So physically, one of the things I thought we would focus on in our practice is strengthening the hips. Keep going with cat-cow. A lot of the yoga poses will be hip openers, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're working on strengthening the hips. So we're probably going to focus a little bit more on keeping the hips level and squared off. Go ahead, come back to a neutral spine when you're ready. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog, walk it out. And then let's come on forward into plank. Chaturanga. Slow cobra. Exhale, release down, tuck the toes. Inhale, plank. Exhale, dog. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, slow release. Tuck the toes. Inhale, plank. Exhale, dog. Hold it right there. So, just warming up a little bit, especially for me because my basement's pretty cold. Nice. All right, come back forward into plank. Chaturanga. Into cobra. Exhale, come on down onto the forearms for Sphinx. Arms are parallel. We are lifting the heart, right? Pull back on the ears just a little bit. Pelvic bone, tops of the feet. You can feel them supporting you in this pose. Close your eyes. Start to deepen the breath. Maybe switch to Ujjayi. So if you aren't familiar with Ujjayi breath, which is victory breath, the easiest way I can tell you is take the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Inhale, exhale through the nose. So with the tongue up against the top of the mouth, when you exhale, you'll feel how the air gets constricted and forced into the back of the throat. It's a good breath to use to warm up with as well. All right, keep going with your Ujjayi. Option A is to stay right here in the Sphinx. Option B is each inhale, you can slowly straighten the arms into seal. And then when you exhale, gently come back down. One more time. And then I'm gonna bring my heart all the way down. So you could just take the elbows out wide. Hands reach back. And I'm gonna push all the way back into child's pose for a moment. Wiggle around. Glue the fingertips to the earth. Lift the wrists up high. Back to Ujjayi. And then we're slowly coming back up into the table. Perfect. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And then let's just walk the feet forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. And just kind of melt your way in. So if you feel like you need to move to loosen up a little, go ahead. One of the things I was thinking about here with that win or lose card is if you're prone to thinking a pose should look a certain way because that's how you've seen it in yoga magazines or yoga books, I want you to consider that, have you ever heard the expression, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? If that pose isn't right for you, you're not going to be happy. And who's it right for? We all look different in every single pose we do. So I really want you to focus on just enjoying your practice and letting it organically morph into what you need it to be. So if forward fold is not happening for you today, well, maybe you stay in monkey pose, which can be hands on the shins or on the ground or on your blocks. If you don't want to be upside down at all, stand up. Eventually we're going to get there too, right? All right, well, let's take this to monkey. Release it down, all the way up. Hands to the heart. Okay, so I want you to focus on the soles of the feet, spread the toes wide, grounding down through the earth, right? Okay, hips are level, squared off, facing forward. I want you to try to keep them there. So inhale the arms, exhale to the heart. Keep the right hip where it is. Don't let it go backwards. Upper body is going to take a twist to the right. So you might not go very far, but that's okay. Just, we're not taking the whole body in a twist. Keep the hips forward, upper body twists. Might even be mostly arms and shoulders. Come back through center. Inhale, drop the arms and take them up. Exhale to the heart. Keep the hips where they are, especially that left one. Upper body twist to the left. And then come back to center. Perfect. Release the arms. As you shift the weight into the left foot, we're going to take that right foot behind us, grab onto it. If you need to hang on to a wall or a chair is nearby, go ahead. So as you're trying to draw the foot in toward the glute, what I want you to be careful of is having that knee way out to the side in order to get the heel closer to you, right? So if you can try to drop that knee down, so maybe the inner thighs are close to each other, that would be good. Then we can work on squeezing the inner thighs together while we're pulling that right heel in. Perfect. Whoa, there goes my pose. We were going to set that foot down anyway. Shift the weight into the right foot. Spread the toes out wide. Same thing on the other side. Just watch the alignment. Try not to create a big arch in the low back or pulling the stomach in. Breathe. So where you feel tightness, you can kind of think about this oracle card. It says win or lose. Are you going to push through it? Are you going to overstretch to alleviate it? What are the consequences? Go ahead. Release that leg. Inhale. Both arms up. Exhale to the heart. Keep the hands at the heart. Sit down into chair. Another good pose for keeping the hips level and straight and squared off, right? Breathe. Sink it a little lower. I'm going to take my weight into my left foot. Right foot is going all the way out behind me for lunge. Keep breathing. You might even go back to Ujjayi if you're not still with it. So let's kind of plant the alignment here of this pose. If that back heel is pushing way down toward the ground, can you lift it up so it's over the ball of the foot and then sink deeper? You can bring your hands to your front thigh if you want to. Breathe here. Release the hands to the earth. Step back to plank. Go ahead and take a vinyasa however you see it in your head. When you get to dog, give me a deep inhale. Loud exhale. Forward fold, however you want to get there. Take a moment here. Just hang. Again, if you don't want to be upside down, change it up. When you're ready, halfway to monkey, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale down. Sit into chair and then lift the upper body, hands to the heart. Focusing on that breath. All right, shift the weight to the right foot. When you're ready, left leg steps back for lunge. And then we're going to think about the lunge. So again, if you're pushing into that back heel, let's get it over the ball of the foot, then sink deeper into that front thigh and breathe. We're going to release the hands to the earth, step back to plank, take another vinyasa. Deep inhale in dog. Loud exhale. Perfect. Right foot is stepping forward again for lunge. Let's set that back knee down. Untuck the foot. Let the hips sink low. They're still squared off, as you'll notice. And then let's come in Anjanasana. So lifting the arms all the way up. As the hips sink, slight back bend. This is one of Hanuman's poses. Perfect. Palms together. Release to the heart. And then hands to the earth. So all I'm doing here is pulling back my hips to stretch out this front leg. Here's the first pose really where the hips might want to skew a little bit. So you've got to pull the right hip back and let the left one move forward to keep them level in this pose. You decide if you want the foot flat or if you want to be on the heel. All right, let's just stay right here for a moment. I want you to think about our winter lose oracle card. How tight are you right now? Right here in this pose. If this is pretty darn tight, this is where you stay. That's the win, right? If you're not feeling this, you can start to come lower. You can move the hands forward if you want to. I would highly suggest kind of playing with the pose and moving in and out of it. Make sure you keep pulling the left hip forward, right hip back. Okay, so from here, if you walk the hands forward, bring them back in. I'm going to start to bring my hips forward. Knee will end up over the front ankle. Replant my hands, tuck the back foot, lift that leg. Now I'm kicking off into supported warrior seat. So this is going to be another pose that the hips are going to want to perhaps not be quite so level. So how do we know? Drop your head, look down. Are the left toes aiming down towards the earth? Is that back leg, is the kneecap facing the earth? See, what you typically will happen in this pose is the hip's going to start to open a little bit. And you should be able to see that if you drop your head. So level out. And then, I don't know, if you want to get crazy, reach and grab a block and set it up on your head to make sure you can hold it there, or maybe later get a little crazier with a bowl of, I don't know, M&Ms or something. Oh no, I hope I'm not hungry right now. Okay, forward fold. Close your eyes. I want you to notice if the stretch in the hamstring feels different between the right and the left leg. Okay, take it to monkey. Bend into the knees, plant the hands. How about a jump back to plank? You don't have to. Okay, downward facing dog. That left foot is stepping forward for lunge this time, planting the back leg. Anjanasana when you're ready. Don't forget to drop the hips. Deepen the breath. Exhale the hands to the heart and to the earth. Gently pull the hips back. Decide if that left foot is staying flat, if you're coming up under the heel. And now the hips. Pull the left one back, right hip moves forward. Hold it right here. And so focusing on win or lose, I can tell right now, I've been very focused this past month on my hips and my sacrum. I am not going any further. I will lose later. I'll be looking for a bottle of Motrin. I can feel it kind of kicking in a little bit in the SI joint. So I'm staying right here. If you want to go any lower, listen to your body, you totally should. Work your way down, coming in and out of the pose. You can take the hands forward to make the stretch deeper. Just watch the hips. The right one's going to want to pull back. It gives you more freedom. Keep it pulling forward. Excuse me. It's a tickle in my throat chakra. I suppose no coincidence that our card is blue for the throat chakra, right? All right, slowly make your way out of that fold. I'm going to bring the hips forward, replant my hands, tuck the back toes, lift that leg, supported warrior C when you're ready, and try to keep the lips level, the hips level as you make your way up. And then again, we'll drop the head to make sure that the toes and the right kneecap are facing the earth. And then when you're ready, go ahead to come back to forward fold, let go, and hopefully things have loosened up a bit. Inhale, monkey. Bend into knees, plant the hands, step or jump back to plank. Chaturanga. Into cobra. All right, just push on back to Vinyasa, child's pose. That gives you a moment, and it gives me a moment to share a quote with you that I wanted to share about our practice. So this is by Claire Dare. She said, I had discovered something. There was a pleasure in becoming something new. You could will yourself into a fresh shape. Now all I had to do is figure out how to do it out there in my life. So she's referencing the yoga practice, how each time you get into a different pose or something new to discover, and it was exciting, how do you take that off the mat, right? And so you can be thinking about that as well with your win or lose card. I'm wondering if that might tie into our second card that we choose about, you know, what sign does the universe have us thinking about for the rest of the day? All right. Ready to continue? Come on up into table. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take this to crouching dog. Lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward. You can step, bunny hop, or jump to forward fold. Take it to monkey. And let it go all the way up when you're ready. Hands to the heart. So right leg is stepping back for pyramid. So it's not a huge stance, right? Probably about 3 feet. Keep all 10 toes facing forward. And if you feel like there's no way you can balance here, you could widen the stance out in either direction to the side. So there's a little more support going there. So this is another pose where the hips are going to want to shift. Can you feel that the left one would love to just move forward? I need you to pull it back, right hip forward. Try not to lock into the knees. Take the arms up. Perfect. Now, lengthen out of the waist. Pull the stomach in a little bit. And we're going to slowly hinge forward until you think the arms and back might be parallel to the ground. Keep pulling the right hip forward. Don't let it go backwards. Don't lock that front knee. Nice. Okay, slowly release the hands. They might go to your thigh. They might make it to the ground. You might have blocks nearby. Recheck the hip. I mean, I could feel mine shift a couple times. I kept pulling it back in. So I know that the hips, they really have a tendency to move in this pose. Right hip forward, left hip back. Then if you want to come any deeper, you can. Hang out, breathe here. Try not to lock the front knee. And then just go ahead and lift out of that fold a little bit if you were in one. I would love to go from here to Ardha Chandrasana. So I'm going to bend into that front leg, and my gaze for my left hand is going to be just straight up from where it is. So as I kick off with the back leg, my left hand will move forward. Back leg lifts. Now here we are going to open up the hip, right? And perhaps take that right arm up to the ceiling. The toes should be facing to my right, so this wall. You can leave that right hand on your hip if that's easier. You can grab blocks. Good job. Now, slowly bend into that front leg. We're going to set the back leg down and find ourselves in Warrior B. How about that? Virabhadrasana. All right. Set your alignment. Shoulders over the hips. Arms out. Front knee is pulling out towards the left. Breathe. Let's turn the palms open, gesture of receiving. Sink this deeper. Now, that quote I read you was talking about finding freedom in the poses, right? I want you to stay in Warrior B. I'm going to face you with the legs, but I want you to allow your arms to do whatever they want to. So find some freedom and don't do what I'm doing and just move. And I'm sure some of the areas your arms hit are going to feel like winning poses, and other ones are going to be on the losing side. You're not going to like them as much, so don't do them again. And then when you're ready, bring the hands to the heart. Slowly straighten out that front leg because it's probably really tired. And then let's gently fall towards the left. So falling out of that right hip. You can either hold it right here with the arms. Don't lock this front knee. Or release the hand down, take the other one up. You're in Trikonasana, triangle. Your object here is to try to lengthen from the right hip all the way up towards the right shoulder. So imagine that, well, try this, take your right hand to your right hip, push the hip away from you, as though you could push it down past your foot, while the crown is reaching in the other direction. Can you feel that? Pull the top shoulder back. So that's the length we want. Now take that top arm up. Perfect, breathe. Happy place. All right, top arm is going to come down as I bend into that left knee. I'm going to let everything kind of move and pivot so I can get back to plank. Here's your vinyasa. And then when you get to dog, just close your eyes, notice what you notice. When you're ready, forward fold. Hang out right there. I'm going to turn back again. We're taking this to monkey. Setting the heart back down and then coming all the way up. Hands to the heart. Left foot, stepping back for pyramid. So remember, it's not a huge step. Square off the hips, pull the left one forward, right one back. You can even look down, make sure all 10 toes are facing forward. Or try not to lock the knees. You can use your hands if you want to try to keep the hips level as we lengthen out of the waist and hinge forward, trying to find that halfway point. If you feel the hips move, help them reshift back. Woo. And then if you want to bring your hands to your leg or to the floor, you can. Reassess. So pull the right hip back, left hip forward. And then if you want to get into a fold here, you can. And then when you're ready, just come out of the fold a little bit so we can kind of see where we're heading. Ardha Chandrasana on the other side, of course. So I'm bending into the front knee. My hand is going to go, forward and out to the side a little bit. When I have my balance, I'll straighten the right leg, open the left hip, and then take that left arm up. And then from here, if you recall, we bent into that front leg slowly and dropped that back leg. Whew, I'm all over the place today. To find warrior B, Virabhadrasana. I noticed my balance was messing around with me a little bit yesterday. All right, so again, I want you to just let the arms explore, find their freedom. And then you'll let the hands make their way back to the heart center. We're going to slowly straighten out that front leg without locking it. Lengthen and lean away from that left hip. So Trikonasana, you can release the arms if you want to. And then again, it might be helpful to take the left hand to the left hip. Push it away while you lengthen the head the other direction. Feel that stretch, hold it, and then take the left arm up. If you can see your left shoulder while you're looking forward because it's in front of you, I need you to pull that back. And if there isn't a way that it's going to come back, you're just too low in the pose. Does that make sense? All right. One more deep breath here. Slowly bend into the front knee, release. We're going to make our way to plank. Chaturanga. Cobra. And then just come all the way down for a moment, reverse Shavasana. Make a pillow for your head, relax. There is absolutely no reason we have to work through the entire flow, right? So Cindy Lee wrote, I think it's interesting that the opposite of being active in yoga is not being passive, it's being receptive. So while you're in reverse Shavasana, can you feel that? We're not just laying there doing nothing. I want you to notice what you are receiving. Okay. I don't want you to get too cold. So I know you probably want to stay there. Go ahead and come back up onto the forearms for a moment here. So let's replant the forearms parallel, tuck the toes, pull the stomach in, and lift into dolphin plank. So a plank on the forearms. Now, keeping the arms where they are, what I'm going to do is walk my feet closer to each other, and I'm dropping the heels to the right. So it's kind of like the bottom part of us all, is doing a twist. Good job. Come back to the toes. Feet next to each other. Drop the heels to the left. Good job. Come back to center, slowly release the knees, thighs, hips. You'll be in Sphinx. Close your eyes. Deep inhale, loud exhale. Perfect. All right, take the elbows out wide so you can bring the heart back down. Slide the hands back and push your way up into table. All right, so from here, actually, I'm just gonna have you sit back for a second. I thought we would venture into tripod. Let me talk you through it. If you already are familiar with tripod and you can just pop up into it, that's fine. This is definitely going to be a win or lose pose, especially since you and I are not in person. So if you've never done tripod, or there's some physical reason why you should not, I need you to focus on what is the win for you. And the win would probably be something more like child's pose, right? You don't have to do tripod. So if you have any neck issues, perhaps shoulder issues, or you really shouldn't be upside down for very long, not that we're going to hold this for a while, then perhaps child's pose might be better. So you already know tripod, go, you're on your own. If you don't know tripod, then just stay focused with me for a little bit longer. We're going to lift the hips, plant the hands, bring the top of the head down to the earth. I want you to look at your arms. You see right here how my hand is in front of my elbow? I need to slide that back so the elbows are above the wrists. That gives me a very stable shelf on the back of my arm. So tuck the toes, lift the knees, walk the feet in a little bit closer. So let's make this option A if you've never done tripod before. Option B would be one knee up on top of one arm, and then the final pose is both legs, right? So give it a shot if you want to. Another way you could do this if you're new to it is to have a block standing where your toes could rest on so that you don't feel like you're only balanced on 3 parts of the body. Give me a couple more breaths. And then go ahead and slowly release the legs down. We'll take this to embryo, arms back. And while you're there, just kind of letting the blood flow resettle. Let's look at our second oracle card, the one that I pulled with the intention that this would be the card that the universe wants you to kind of think about as you move about your day. So this card says shine. It shows a woman, there is a bright light coming from her heart chakra, as though that light were lifting her up. She's flowing upwards through the sky. She's kind of leaning in a back bend as that light pulls her. And so definitely a heart chakra card. So that means you got to do what your heart intends, your heart wants, if you're going to let yourself shine. If you're doing what somebody else wants, you're not linked to your own heart space, right? So perfect. I like that card. That goes along with the first card we drew, doesn't it? I mean, if you're going to practice ahimsa on the mat, you're going to keep yourself safe, and you're going to do what you need to do, then you are focused on the heart, and you are letting that come through with your own inner light. So I like that. That's a good card. All right. Come on up into table. All right. I want you to really set the alignment of table. So push the hands away, draw the stomach in a little bit. Feel how naturally level the hips are in this pose. Let's see if we can try to keep them that way, especially the right hip as you take the right arm up. Now, if everything wants to twist and open, you'll notice that the left hip's going to drop. So come back down, reset the hips, and just see where the arm will go. And then we're going to exhale and thread the right arm underneath the left. Come all the way down. Stretch that left arm overhead. Let the fingers walk back a little bit behind the ear. And with your eyes closed, I just want you to think about how you'd like to shine today. In what capacity? In regards to whom? In regards to what? What's the situation? What you planned? Is it something you don't want to do? Did you say yes to something you should have said no to? How can you still shine, right? So I want you to think about how shine goes with you off your mat today. All right, if you want to, let's make this option A. Option B, send the left leg back, tucking the toes on the ground. And now option C is going to be a hip opener. You really have to get support from the right shin and the top of the right foot. If you want to slowly lift that left leg, you can open up that hip if you want to. A lot of balance going on here. And then gently release. As you see fit, slowly make your way back to the table. You'll inhale cow. And exhale cat. Hold it right there. Okay. Neutral spine. Reset that alignment. Keep the hips level. Take that left arm wherever it'll go. Try to keep the hips level. And then exhale, thread that arm underneath the right. Right arm is going to reach overhead. Walk backwards a little bit. Close your eyes right here. While you're there, I have another quote for you that I found. So this is by a young guy, and he wrote, "Yoga does not transform the way we see things. It transforms the person who sees." How does that apply to the two cards we've drawn? I think in one way, especially when we are practicing ahimsa on the mat and we are presented with a pose that's not great for our bodies, the strength that it takes to just not do that pose or to change it the way you need to, I think goes along with that last part that a young guy was saying about we suddenly have perspective on ourselves. We suddenly are seeing that pose in a different way and what it could be for us, not what you think it should look like or what somebody else thinks it should look like, right? Okay, so same option on this side. You can stay where you are if you like. Or send that right leg back, tuck the toes. Feel the top of the left shin, top of the left foot and the left shin supporting you. If you want to try lifting that right leg and opening up that hip a little bit. And then slowly release back down. Make your way to table. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Which felt better, cow or cat? Try it again. Cow. Do you feel like you want to stay here? Round it to cat. Do you feel like you want to stay here? Pick one. And we're going to hold for a moment. Perfect. Neutral spine, tuck the toes. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Walk the feet forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. We're going to slowly roll the way up. Okay, here we go. I want you to take your weight into the left foot. So bend into that left leg, but I want that right leg to feel like it can leave the ground at any moment and you'd be fine. I'm going to take the foot behind me. So the right toes are on the earth. I'm just bending into that left. Now I want you to get your hands on your hips. Keep the hips level. I'm going to hinge forward just a little bit and lift that right leg. Do not let that right hip open. Good job. Crane. Pull that right knee forward and up. Check the hips. Slowly bend into that left leg. Tap the right toes behind you. You can hang on to a wall or a chair if you need to. Crane. One more time. Send that leg back. Nice. Take it to crane. Set the foot down as you take the arms up. Hands to the heart. Close your eyes. Like, how was that? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? Easy, hard? Wishing you didn't have a second side to do? So what was the win in that for you? I hope there were no losses, because if there were any losses, I need you to assess what they were and don't do them on the other side, right? That's the Vinyasa. That's giving you the power. You have the power to choose what you're going to do on the mat. All right, ready? Open your eyes so we don't fall over. Hands to the hips. Ground down into that right foot. Bend into the knees. Send that left foot out behind you. Make sure the hips are level. So if that left hip's pulling back, give it a nudge. Nice. Lengthen. Lean forward. Lift that left leg out behind you. And then into crane. Slowly bend into the right knee. Send the left leg out behind you. And crane. One more. And then as you set that left foot down, arms go up. Hands to the heart. Close your eyes. Turn the fingers to the earth. Forward fold. Take this to ragdoll, so grab onto the opposite elbows, push the head through your arms if you can. Not everyone can do that, so let's not make that a loss. This should be a happy place. And then release the hands, bend into the knees. Let's sit down on the mat. Ah, perfect. Grab your shins and roll all the way back to hug the knees under the heart. And then set the feet down. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab it. If you don't, you absolutely don't need it for what we're doing, truly. I was just trying to give you a little something extra to think about. You could use something else besides a block, anything. It's just going between the knees. So if you have a book nearby or even sweatshirt that you could fold up and put between your knees, it's just something to hug in on a little bit. So as I have lifted my feet up, and I just want you to notice when you squeeze in on something, can you feel how maybe that helps the low back pull down? So we're just using whatever's between your knees, our prop, as a tool. So take your arms straight up from the shoulders, or if you're confined a little bit like I am, it could be scarecrow, or you could interlace the hands behind the head. Low back down, squeeze your prop. If you don't have a prop, you're squeezing the legs together. And I'm slowly dropping the knees to the right, and where you stop is up to you. So I'm going to look for about 45 degrees and hold it and squeeze. And then come back to center. I'm still squeezing. Are you? Take it to the left. Back to center. Do that one more time each side. And there are no brownie points here for how far you decide to drop your knees down. I just need you to make sure that, especially if you're going all the way to the ground, that the opposite shoulder is not leaving the earth. All right, back to center. Keep squeezing. So this time we are going to drop the knees to the right. It's totally up to you. You know your body 100% more than I do. And if you need that prop to be on the floor to catch your legs, that's fine. If you choose to leave it between your legs, I need you to know if the right leg can make it to the ground with the left shoulder blade staying intact with the earth. So try it out. You can always add that prop after you've seen where you can go. And then once you're there, if you want to, you can turn the head to the left. So I'd like you to take your focus to your heart center. I want you to see your inner light. We're just kind of emulating the second oracle card we drew. See that light expanding, coming out of your heart space. Begins to fill the space around you. It's a beautiful, bright light. How would you like to shine today? Who does your light need to touch? Who do you want it to touch? How do you use that light to help touch your heart's needs? And then hear me say this before you do it. If you have a prop between your legs, I'd like you to squeeze and pull the stomach in before you come back to center. If you have any back issues or low back issues, I would much prefer that you let the top leg come back first and then let the other leg follow. So totally up to you. Once I get to center, I'm going to free my arms and hug the legs in for a moment. I still have that prop between the knees, and you can move it if you want to. And then while you're there, I know I need to scooch a little bit away from the wall here. Okay, arms are back open or scarecrow or behind the head. Squeeze your block, pull the low back down, and then gently drop the knees down to the left. Keep that right shoulder down. And you can turn your head to the right if you want. So take your focus, your eyes closed, back to your heart space and see your beautiful inner light. It's always shining. Sometimes we forget, or sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but it always is there. How can you rely on it today? Give me a deep inhale, loud exhale. And again, you're being very conscious of your body and your back in deciding how you're going to bring the knees back to center, right? And then when they get there, if you still have a prop between your legs, go ahead and set it aside. And when you're ready, hug the knees into the heart. So I'm gonna loosen up on the legs, let them start moving away from me. You can actually step the left foot down if you'd like. We're gonna come into our supine pigeon. So we are opening up the hip here, so just be careful. Outer right ankle on top of the left thigh, right knee pushes away, right foot is flexed, and then go ahead and lift that left foot, bring the legs in towards you. And here, if it's okay with you, we might straighten that left leg up to the ceiling. And now I'm gonna interlace my fingers behind that thigh to hold this leg in place so I don't have to work so hard. So if there's any part of this you don't like, it's not a win-win situation for your body. Change it up. You don't have to straighten out the top leg. You certainly don't have to pull the left leg in super close. You could leave the left leg on the ground. Make yourself happy. So I'm going to hang on to that left leg with the left hand. I'm sliding the right hand out to grab the inner sole of the right foot. We're just making a creative transition to half happy baby. So as I take the right leg out to half happy baby, I'm going to bend the left leg and let the foot find the ground. Now go ahead and work your way a little deeper into the pose. So in this pose, we're trying to keep the shin perpendicular to the floor and the ceiling. Might not happen, that's okay. Deep inhale. Exhale, hug both knees back in, rock it out. Perfect. So supine pigeon on the other side, right? Left foot is up on top of the right thigh. When you're ready, pull the right leg in and stretch that leg up to the ceiling as you interlace the fingers behind that leg. If you can't reach behind that leg, grab your strap or sweatshirt, send it around behind the leg. I'm going to hang on to the right leg with the right hand. Left hand pulls back through to grab the inner sole of the left foot. Half happy baby with the left leg as the right foot slowly comes back to the earth. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. Hug the knees back in and rock it out. When you're ready, set the feet back down. We are going to work our way towards Shavasana. So if you are also in a cold basement, you might want to grab your sweatshirt, a blanket, whatever you've got nearby. Go ahead and get comfortable. We still have another card to draw to kind of guide us into Shavasana. I don't want you to think in Shavasana. I just kind of want to set an energy for the pose. So let's see what we drew. I love this. Okay, we drew awaiting results. Is that not the perfect card for Shavasana? I mean, that gives you free rein to veg out and see what comes to you. And, you know, when we reopen our eyes, kind of, you know, what space are you in? Very interesting picture. Shows a woman standing. She's wearing a dress. where you would typically see her ankles and her feet, they are the tree trunk. And the tree branches move up through the confines of her skirt. So it's almost as though that's the pattern on her skirt, but you know it's part of her. She's grounded and rooted because you can't see her feet or her ankles. That tree reaches all the way up to the heart space. We have multiple themes running through this class. What it looks like is at the heart, it looks like that is where the tree is bearing one piece of golden fruit. So as you close your eyes in Shavasana, I need your focus on the heart. We now know that with the first card, that win or lose, we have to be listening to our heart. We have to be listening to our intuition to know what's best for us, right? Then we drew this shine card where it's reinforcing this light that comes from the heart space. And then we drew this third card that has this tree running up through it, ending at this beautiful gold piece of fruit at the heart. So everything stems from the heart space. You have any struggles, listen to your heart. You're having a fabulous day, look for the shine that you're emitting. So focusing on the heart chakra, allowing your eyes to be heavy, allowing the body to start to feel heavy as you allow yourself to let go into this completely safe space that you've created for yourself. And know that I will come back and get you. You'll hear my voice when it's time to come back. Stop or throat. Every exit is an entry somewhere else. And so I don't want you to think about this as exiting Shavasana, that peaceful, restorative, and receptive place. But I want you to start thinking about how you can tap into your heart and send your light forward to guide you into whatever that somewhere else might be today. Give me a deep inhale. Slowly let it go. And let's bring some movement back into the hands and the feet. And very peacefully, will you roll onto a side in a fetal position? When you get to your next inhale, just gently push the earth away so you can find a seated pose again. Deep breath in through the nose. Super loud exhale. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, the hands back home to the heart in prayer pose. The light in me bows to the light in you. And when I'm in that place in me, and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste.